She already exists. The girl you're trying to become. The one on your mood board. The one whose voice you're starting to copy. Whose clothes you started to buy. Whose life you memorized. She already exists. The position is already filled. The universe hired her for the role and she's fully committed to it. So what exactly is your plan? To be the second best version of a person who's already alive? Because that's the ceiling. That's the best case scenario you can do if you copy someone else. Because you become a slightly worse version of them, like a cover song. And nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever changed their life by listening to a cover song. Here's what the video actually is. It's not a love yourself with candles and a bath. It's the arguments. The cold, logical, philosophical argument for why trying to be someone else is the single worst strategy available to you, and why the thing you're trying to fix, hide, or trade in is the only asset you actually own. Stay with me. This one is going to sting before it frees you. Let's start with the math of fitting in, because fitting in is a transaction and nobody ever reads the full term. So here's the deal you sign. I will send on everything unusual about me, my taste, my opinions, my silence, my intensity. And in exchange, the group will not reject me. Notice what you get. Not love, not admiration, not belonging. You get non-rejection. That's it. That's a payout. You trade 100% of your identity for the group to tolerate a version of you that doesn't exist. And here's the part that nobody wants to say out loud. Even when it works, it fails. Because even though they accept someone now, it's not the real you. So the loneliness doesn't go away. It gets worse because now you're lonely in the group. Surrounded and completely unseen. That's the most expensive loneliness there is. Fitting in and belonging are not the same things. Fitting in means changing yourself to be allowed in the room. Belonging means the room adjusts because you walked in. One requires your absence and the other one requires your presence. And think about what a world of successful fitting in would look like. Everyone the same taste, same face, same options, same dreams. That's not a world, that's a warehouse. The entire reason anything is interesting, the art, the music, the cities, or even the people, is difference. Sameness is not safety. Sameness is death with good lighting. Now let's talk about you specifically. Because some of you are just not trying to fit in. You've gone further. You've picked a person and you're trying to become them. You know exactly what I mean. There is someone whose life you studied like an exam. You know how they talk, how they dress, what they eat, how they enter a room. And somehow along the way, admiration turned into something else. It turned into a quiet, constant self-erasure. Every time you look at her, a voice in your head says something like, be that instead. I want you to actually hear what the voice is saying. Be that instead. Instead of what? Instead of you? The voice is asking you to delete a person, and the person is you. They want you to delete yourself. And here's the philosophical problem with the whole situation. The reason it can never work, no matter how disciplined you are, you only ever see the outside of other people. And you compare that to the inside of yourself. You see their results, their highlights, their finished painting. You see your own doubts, your mess, your 3 a.m. thoughts. Of course they win their comparison. It's rigged. You're comparing their trailer to your raw footage. But there's something deeper. Even if you've succeeded, even if you copied them perfectly, you would have proven only one thing. That you can execute someone else's blueprint. The question of who you actually are is still sitting there, unanswered, untouched. You can't outrun the questions by becoming someone who never even had to ask those questions. Let me tell you how I know this. Not from a book, but from my own body. For years I wanted to be skinny, like model skinny. That specific narrow editorial silhouette was the thing I had chosen to become. And I went to war with my own body to become that person. I barely ate for years. And I treated food like an enemy and hunger like an achievement. And I want to be very clear here because that was not discipline, okay? That was self-abandonment with a goal attached. So basically, I was starving the person I actually was, trying to feed the person I thought I should be. And here's the absurd twist. The part that should be funny even had me cost years of it. My body never cooperated with the version I wanted to be so badly. Because I have fast metabolism. No matter how much I eat, I burn a lot quickly, okay? So later, when I looked at myself and I was like, actually, I want to have more on my hips. More softness, right? More curves. I couldn't gain that either. My body refuses to become the before picture or like the after picture. It kept being mine. And one day it hit me, and I mean physically it hit me. I've spent years fighting a body that was never wrong. It wasn't failing to become the goal. It was succeeding at becoming itself. And here's what I found on the other end. I'm actually more happy with a little more weight on my hips. I enjoy my body now. Not because it's fitting an image, but because I deleted that image. I stopped auditioning for a role and started living in a body that was cast for me when I was born. And I needed to understand what that felt like. It wasn't giving up. Giving up's when you stop chasing something or someone that you actually wanted. This was different. This was realizing that I was chasing something someone else wanted. A template, an industry standard, a stranger's silhouette, and calling that my dream. And the day I dropped it, it didn't feel smaller. It felt like I've got years handed back to myself. That's what acceptance actually is. It's not settling, it's a refund. Now, before anyone twists this, okay, I'm not telling you to admire anyone, okay? Inspiration is fuel. I have people, celebrities I admire, whose standards raised mine. So study people, learn from them. That's how every great thing has ever been built. But there's a line, and you need to exactly know where it is. Inspiration is taking the fire, and imitation is actually taking the shape. When someone inspires you, you take their principles, the discipline, the taste, the courage, the standard, and you run those through your own life, your own hands, your own weirdness. And what comes out of the other side is something completely unique because it looks like you. And when you imitate someone, you skip the principles and photocopy the surface. The outfits without the philosophy, the aesthetic without the years, the voice without the story that built it. And surfaces don't survive contact with the real life. And that's why copied identities always crack. They were never load bearing. So here's the rule. Take inspiration from 10 people, or even 20, or 100, okay? And let them collide inside of you until it's unrecognizable. Make everything you touch look like it could only have come from you. Your work, your room, your style, your writing. Sign it. Not with your name, but with your difference. Because the world doesn't need another copy of anyone. Copies are worthless the moment they are made, and every market on the earth agrees on this. Originals are the only things that are appreciated, and you are, by definition, by birth, the only original you that will ever be printed. Now I want to take this all the way up, because this isn't just strategy, this is philosophy, maybe the oldest one there is. Out of every combination of everything that ever could have existed, every possible phase, every possible mind, every possible mixture of sensitivity and fire and silence and strangeness, you hadn't. Once, unrepeatable. There was never a you before you, and there will never be a you after you. And you want to spend that. You want to spend the only edition of yourself that will ever exist doing an impression of somebody else who already have themselves covered. No, listen to me. You did not come into this world different by accident. Different is not a manufacturing error. Every single thing that makes you feel like you don't fit in, the intensity, the quiet, the taste nobody shares, the way you think sideways when everyone is thinking straight, that is not the flaw in the design. That is the design. The work doesn't get better when you blend in. The work gets better when you show up as the thing that only you can be. Every idea, every piece of art, every movement that ever mattered came from someone who refuses to be reasonable about who they are. If everyone were the same, the world wouldn't be just boring, the world would be finished. Nothing new could ever enter it. Difference is the door. New things can come through it. And you are one of those doors. Standing there, half closed and apologizing for existing. Open. Okay? Okay. So here's what changed today. Not your face, not your body, and also not your personality. What's about to change is your direction. Because until now you've been walking towards someone else. Every choice run through the filter, is this what she would do? Starting from today, the filter changes. Okay? The only question you ask yourself is this me? Does this opinion actually live in me, or did I instill it? Do I love this, or do I love the idea of being seen that I love it? Would I still love this if no one could ever see me having it? And you don't have to find yourself, because you never lost yourself. You were just buried under other people's preferences, other people's standards, or like other people's silhouettes. And acceptance isn't discovering someone new, it's excavating someone you have abandoned. And I tell you what's waiting down there, because I've met her myself. Someone with more depth, more taste, and more presence than any version you were trying to copy. She was there the whole time, eating almost nothing, waiting for you to stop starving her out. Feed her everything, your years, your attention, your loyalty. She's the only one who ever actually was yours. Be so much yourself that fitting is not even an option. That's the whole assignment. That's the whole life. And again, this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.